The road to success is rarely a straight line. It's full of twists and turns, detours, redirections, hills and valleys. So join us on the path to success as we explore people's personal journeys. Come be encouraged, informed, and empowered to reach your dreams.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining the Path to Success podcast today. And I am enthusiastic and looking forward to today's program with our guest, Carolyn McCombs. Carolyn is Executive Director of New Destiny Family Success Centers. Carolyn, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so you know what? I'd like to start off with share with us a little bit about your nonprofit, New Destiny Family Success Centers, and what do you guys do?
So we are a family support organization. Our mission is centered around fostering healthy families. And our vision is that every family should have the ability to thrive and achieve their goals. And so what we do is come alongside families in good times and bad times, and just times where things are going well, and just say, hey, we're here to support. How about you take advantage of some parent training we have? We have monthly parent-child activities, which are free. We have all kinds of life skills training, everything from English as a second language to, getting your driver's license knowledge tests, and you name it, we've done all kinds of things. We do Zumba classes, financial literacy. It's all about putting in front of families, particularly parents, tools that help them to be more effective in their roles as parents, and also in their family stability. So of course, we connect people with resources if they're in a crisis, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's no heat, no electricity. We find ways to connect people. The goal is preventing child abuse and neglect.
That is fantastic. And you guys have been doing this for like 20 years now. Is that correct?
So the Family Success Center work was established in 2007. So yes, so we're about 14 years in doing this work.
That is awesome. Well, I'd like to take you back, because as the intro says, the road to success is full of twists and turns, ups and downs. It's rarely a straight road.
Never.
So I'd like to take you back to, kind of when you first got in here. So I understand you were a marketing exec,
yes,
experiencing some transition.
Yes, I was.
I guess talk to me first about, being that marketing exec and that first public housing project that you worked on.
So, as I mentioned, I was working as a marketing exec, enjoying a nice career, earning six-figure salary. And as you all know, things happen when you're in those positions, and transitions come and go. And so I was in the middle of a transition. But before I hit that main transition, I had already in my heart to give back in the community. So prior to coming into transition in that marketing role, I'd gone into a public housing project just on a whim. I was in prayer one day and I just saw a vision, and the vision said, I should walk onto the property and offer my support. And my heart was that I think all women really want to be self-sufficient, especially when they're caring for families and they want to earn a decent income. And so I saw an opportunity to connect with women who were on welfare or in other types of transition, and connect them with their goals, their careers, and their talents, to show them and support them in another path to sustainability.
Now, you said you saw a vision, but you saw that in your mind, in your heart. You hadn't spoke to anybody yet,
no,
right?
I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anyone.
So you walk into this public housing community not knowing anyone, and what happens when you walk on the property?
So I walk on the property and I'm just kind of looking around, and I saw, oh, wow, there's a community center here. So I walked in and there are people working. It's during the day, connected with a woman who does the resident programming. and just introduced myself and said, I really have a heart to connect with women on welfare. Is there a way you can, maybe show me if I could connect and offer some services? And so we talked a while. She said, well, let me get the okay from the director. She came back. She said, yeah. They said, yeah, let her have some space. So there we were. We put flyers out. We invited women to come, and we were seeing success. Women were showing up. They seemed to be responding to what was happening. And so then a contract was offered for me to do an actual curriculum. It was a 12-week curriculum, and we had such tremendous success. So many of the women who came through ended up, enrolling in classes and trade schools, getting jobs, getting off welfare. And so there was some really great success with the program. In fact, it was awarded by HUD with a Program Excellence Award. So that was really the impetus for me to say, wow, I think this is my gifting. I want to do more of this.
So now you said the word transition, but we're going to dive into that just a little bit deeper. And just the reason, because, I'm doing this podcast because I wrote a book that I released over Thanksgiving, which is called Surviving Layoffs.
Yes.
Faith, favor, and follow through. And, my 25 years, I was on the layoff list 3 times, and each time I had job opportunities inside and outside. And the book is available at Amazon and BorisPendergrass.com. But here you're going through that transition, and in the midst of that, you said you had a chance meeting. Tell us about the chance meeting that further pushed you along into what you're doing today.
So in this chance meeting, I'm at a gathering in the city with nonprofit leaders, a lot of people who were, in various walks of life. And we're at the buffet line, and I'm getting my food. The gentleman next to me is getting food and, making small talk. So he says, so tell me, what brings you to the meeting? I said, oh, well, I'm involved here in ministry with my husband in the city, and I thought it'd be good to come. He says, so what do you do? I said, well, actually, I was just downsized out of a marketing job. And he's like, oh, so what are you going to be doing next? Well, I'm not quite sure, but I really feel like I want to do something in the nonprofit sector. So he said, well, what did you do? I said, well, I was a strategic planner. I wrote business plans. I launched marketing campaigns. He said, you think you could write grants? I said, well, isn't that just like making a business case? I think that's transferable. So one thing led to another. I ended up with an interview, ended up being hired as a director of development, and spent a couple of years just learning the ropes of how to do grant writing, how to do fund development. Great opportunity. Eventually, that position was eliminated because they decided to restructure and take the work I was doing and give it to the existing staff members. So there I was, faced with another decision. Is it time to go back to corporate, or do I really want to make this plunge? And so I chose the plunge and launched my own nonprofit at that point, ended up partnering with a large government entity, and we won a 5-year 21st Century grant, which is a multi-million-dollar grant. So that was a great start. Me being naive to the way politics work and how nonprofits kind of get invited into the circle of, let's just say, players. I didn't realize all of that. And so we were booted off that contract within a year. And so here I was again in another transition. And so that was probably the most difficult one, because and that transition, I really had to search my heart and say, is this still what you want to do? But I have to say, there's something very interesting that happened while that was transitioning and we were coming off that contract. I had made a application for a federal grant to do workplace transition work with women in housing projects, and I won a federal grant. So while it wasn't a huge grant, it was the bridge that crossed me over into the next place. And so it gave me a great opportunity to really go in and expand on the work I'd already done. It was a great opportunity. A friend of mine who, had offered the opportunity for me to do the initial program we did for workplace readiness, opened the door and said, hey, here's free office space. You can have it. So I literally had an office in the public housing development. So I was in one of the apartments providing my services.
What's so interesting, I like us to get into a little bit, is you talk about just the naivete, right? Being naive and winning that first big contract, and then, just the politics, the backdoor politics that happened. I guess as you look at your focus, has your focus been more the service? Is the focus, the money, the politics, the notoriety? Tell me a little bit about how you have run your business, your nonprofit, and how you focus and how you lead.
So basically what I discovered is you need to know with whom you labor. You've heard, know those who labor among you. Well, you really do need to know those who labor among you. And so the big lesson I learned from that was that I really need to be very clear in vetting who I partner with. Not everyone is a good partner. And while I may be bringing skills to the table and they may be bringing skills to the table, it doesn't necessarily mean that we are compatible in terms of our goals, our agendas, and all of that. So I learned that the hard way. And so I've not made that mistake again. But I have been very careful to vet partners, to make sure there's alignment, to make sure if needed, we put things in writing. And while we love each other dearly, we want to protect each other. Let's put everything in writing. We have what we call memorandums of understanding. And that outlines what's expected of me, what's expected of you, the time frame, how much money is going to be exchanged. Everybody's happy. We sign the agreement and we go off and do the work.
Now, and that's just excellent business practice, whether nonprofit, for-profit, private,
Absolutely.
Ministry minded, just great business practice and communication. But I know, that I think for you, it's still, you're leading with your heart and you're saying, I need to meet the needs of my people, or the people that you're working with and serving. Would that be true, consistent, true statement?
Oh, absolutely. So at the end of the day, I made up in my mind that this was not a career move for me. This was a calling. And so that's the other thing you have to be clear on. Is this really a calling? I will give the strongest, advice I can in that way and say, if you don't know that you are truly called to be in whatever it is, whether it's starting your own business, whether it's a private, whether it's nonprofit, whether it's corporation, whatever it is, you have to be really grounded that this is your calling. Because when the hard times hit, you're going to have to be able to stand on why. What is your why for doing what you're doing?
I got it. What is your why? Wow. And I guess, even in your environment, right? What about things like, branding and networking? And, there are people who are doing those things, right? Or they focus on their fundraising and things like that, do you think about that? What about that?
So let me just say this. I will not discount the importance of social media. But here's really the question for me. Am I really meeting real needs? Because I could think I'm meeting needs, but until I hear the people say that I've served, you met my need, and let me tell you how you did it. As a result of me connecting with you, I was able to accomplish this and overcome this, and now my outlook is different. I'm moving in a new way. When I hear people give me that feedback, I know, okay, I'm on track. I'm meeting real needs. And what I'm fearful of is there are a lot of people out on social media saying they're doing this, they're doing that, they're going over here, they're giving out book bags, they're giving out, whatever it is, diapers, whatever it is they're giving out. But at the end of the day, what real need are you meeting? And yes, people will take your stuff, but at the end of the day, you will be found out whether you're really doing the work or you're not doing the work. And it's all about impact. If you can't show the real impact of your work and the investment you're making in serving others, then you need to go home. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Well, I'm assuming because just the negative impact on your whole life, right? You're putting all your time in this. You're not making impact. The stress, the anxiety, is that what you mean?
That's what I mean. So for instance, I give you an example. I currently teach a course called Nonprofit Management. A local university brought me on to train people who are starting or developing their nonprofits. And I train people on probably 16 hours of training on what are the critical things people need to know as they're embarking on this work. And so many people come to the work not recognizing that there are markers that you need to be meeting in terms of outcomes, in terms of measurements, in terms of impact. And while you might look like an overnight wonder, because you pulled off a nice event, it's not about an event. It's about how are you meeting a need long term? What is it that you're doing long term that's improving the outcome of people and the outcome of your community? And so I hit people hard with it. I said, listen, are your objectives, are they smart? Are they specific? Are they measurable? Are they achievable? Are they results oriented? What is it you're doing that, is really real? And let me tell you, funders know when it's real and when it's not.
So, and in our corporate American world that I live in, right, and in the private sector, what are the key performance indicators, right? Are they measurable? Are you hitting these things, and can we prove that? Well, that's awesome. I think as we get close to wrapping up, what I'd like to ask is, you've been doing this, you've had success. It's awesome that this vision, dream placed in your heart and the twists and turns to get there. And to wrap up, what would you share with our audience just regarding accomplishing their dreams, their goals, and the objectives that they have for themselves?
So one of the first things, and I share from the perspective of someone who went after their heart. I did. I'm a heart lady. That's it. But you know what? You got to measure that. You've got to balance that with some understanding. And so the understanding I gained having 2020 vision now is if you have a real heart to go out and meet a need in the community, which no one else is meeting, do your homework on that one. And you feel like you have a strategy and an approach that could be effective, find some other people who believe the same thing. So one of the first things you have to do is establish a solid board of directors. And I don't mean your relatives. I don't mean, auntie so-and-so and uncle so-and-so. And that's not what I mean. I mean people who can invest and people who are willing to be ambassadors to represent your vision and go out and bring others alongside. That's absolutely critical to do. So what I do recommend is find, even if it's only 2 or 3 people, and they're willing to say, listen, we're going to come alongside you. We can't write a donation check, but we know a lot of people who can. We'll get out there and we'll find those people. We'll host these fundraisers. We'll fill this gala. We'll make sure that the people who come understand that this is what we're about. Surround yourself with those people first. Don't try to launch out on your own. So that's number 1. Number 2, find partners who are already in the community. Maybe they're not doing exactly what you are doing, but they're doing something that's very closely aligned. How when you put two together, it's more powerful. Find someone.
Complementary.
What's that?
Complementary to each other, right?
Complementary, absolutely. Find someone where your mission or your vision complements what they're already doing, and say, would you mind if we partner together? Let me tell you some of the best advice I can give you. Pilot test yourself. Pilot test what you believe is the solution to an issue you want to address. Don't just jump out there and start a nonprofit without having tested whether there is someone that is really going to benefit, and they will tell you that they benefit. Do your research, do a needs assessment, test out a few programs, partner with someone. Maybe you can partner with someone who would be willing to say, I'm going to give you some free space so you can work from my location and begin to grow your vision. And you can partner with us. You can share expenses with us. You don't need to go out and, get a copy machine or all of that. You can share the resources we have here. So
sure.
Find some good collaborators, some good partners, and then be hard on yourself. Really sit back every now and again and just say, okay, what did we really accomplish in this past quarter, in this past 6 months? We do something called a dashboard. And this dashboard is a wonderful tool. And what we do is we take the key measures that we've set for ourselves and we show a trajectory of what's happened. How did we do? Who did we serve? How many people did we serve? Once we did this for the first time about a year and a half ago, and when our team looked at the accomplishments we had made, they were so proud of their work. They were like, wow, we had no idea this was the impact we were having. And so it's a good story to tell, because that is a story you can tell to people who want to potentially fund you, who want to potentially partner with you, who may want to, come alongside you in some way. So it's really important to be hard on yourself, to evaluate the effectiveness of what you're doing, and listen to the people you're serving. Bring them on board. Let them become a part of what you're building. In other words, we don't have all the answers. We have a passion to serve. And so guess what? Other people also have insight and have understanding. Bring them alongside and say, if you were to be involved in this, how would you approach it? And you'd be amazed at what you would come out with. Much better, like they say, 2 heads are better than 1, 3 heads, 4 heads, as many people as you can get who want to come aboard and really invest in the vision. Invite them to come.
That is awesome. That is great advice, and our audience is going to enjoy that, take advantage of that. Carolyn, I'd like to thank you for being a part of our podcast today. Also, thank you for the work that you are doing.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to share with you.
Thank you for watching the Path to Success podcast. As you saw on the podcast, that change is inevitable. And I've written 2 books to help you address change, transition, and layoff. Surviving Layoffs, Faith, Favor, and Follow Through, and then Surviving Layoff, Attitude, Actions, and Affirmations. The books are available on Amazon.com and BorisPendergrass.com. I was 25 years in technology, 3 times on the layoff list, and each time I had job opportunities inside and outside the company. And that's what the book addresses. So please pick up the book. We're getting great feedback. It's helping people handle change, take advantage of the opportunities that are before them. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Path to Success podcast.